People believe strange things announce themselves. They don't. Sometimes everything looks ordinary until it quietly isn't. This story was told to me by my grandfather. It happened when he was 16 years old. His family lived in a small village surrounded by forest. Not a haunted forest, not forbidden, just thick and old, the kind that had existed long before the village itself. During the day, sunlight filtered through the canopy. Birds nested in the branches. People passed near its edges without fear. It wasn't a place known for danger or superstition. It was simply deep. My grandfather was known as a gentle boy, deeply religious. He never missed his prayers. He was soft-spoken and patient. He cared for the animals in the barn before caring for himself. During the dry months, he left bowls of water for birds near the fields. He believed kindness was a form of duty. People trusted him. His younger sister, only 5 years old, fell ill. At first, it didn't seem serious. Children often became sick. Fevers came and went. For a couple of days, his mother treated her with home remedies passed down through generations: warm cloths, herbal mixtures, quiet prayers late into the night. But instead of improving, the child grew weaker. Her fever returned again and again. Her appetite disappeared. She cried even while sleeping. By the third day, she could barely stand. The nearest doctor lived in another village, several miles away. Their father was working in the fields and would not return until nightfall. There were other younger children at home who needed care. There was no cart available, no animal that could be spared. My grandfather's mother sat beside the child for a long time, watching her breathe. Worry lined her face. Finally, she looked at her eldest son. Her voice was quiet. She said the doctor had to see her. There was no other option. My grandfather understood immediately what that meant. He would have to take his sister himself, on foot. The regular road to the next village was long and uneven. Carrying a sick child that entire distance under the afternoon sun would take hours. There was a shorter way, through the forest. People used it occasionally, not often, mostly because it was tiring and quiet, not because it was feared. With no other means of transportation and no time to wait, his mother sent him. He lifted his sister onto his shoulders and entered the forest. At first, nothing felt unusual. Sunlight still filtered through the leaves. Birds could still be heard. The path was narrow but clear. If anyone had seen him then, they would have seen nothing strange at all. As he walked deeper, the forest slowly grew thicker. Trees stood closer together. Light dimmed gradually, not suddenly. The air felt cooler. Still daylight, still ordinary. He focused on walking steadily, on keeping his sister secure, on whispered prayers asking for strength and protection. Some distance in, he felt something change. Not fear, not danger, awareness. As if something had noticed him. He paused briefly and listened. Nothing stirred. He told himself it was imagination and continued. Then he heard his name, spoken clearly, from behind. He turned. A tall man stood on the path. Too tall. Unnaturally still. The man greeted him politely and told him not to be afraid, said he meant no harm. My grandfather felt uneasy, but the man's voice was calm, familiar, almost reassuring. The man asked where he was going. My grandfather explained everything: his sister's illness, the doctor in the other village, the long journey ahead. The man listened carefully, then said, "You look exhausted. It is already past midday. My home is not far from here. You should rest and eat before continuing." My grandfather hesitated. Time mattered. His sister mattered more. He said he could not stop. The man smiled gently and replied, "My home is only a short distance away. We will rest briefly. Then you may continue. My place lies along your path." Reluctantly, my grandfather agreed to walk a little further. They walked together. They spoke of ordinary things: village life, weather, daily work. The forest remained calm. Sunlight continued to filter through the canopy. Nothing felt haunted. Nothing felt threatening, and yet the walk seemed longer than it should have been. Then they stopped. A massive boulder stood in the middle of the forest, enormous, smooth, immovable. The man said calmly, "This is my home." My grandfather looked around. There was nothing else. No hut, no shelter, no sign of habitation, only the boulder. Confusion filled his mind. Then the man lifted his hand. He moved his fingers slightly. The boulder slid aside effortlessly, as if it weighed nothing at all. Stone steps were revealed, descending underground. Warm light poured upward. Fear struck instantly. This was no trick, no strength of man. Was this magic? A demon? Something pretending to be human? My grandfather clutched his sister tightly. The man looked at him and said calmly, "Do not be afraid. No harm will come to you or the child." His voice never changed. There was no threat in it, only certainty. The man again invited him to rest and eat. Every instinct urged him to flee. But the forest behind him felt endless, and his sister was weak. Faith battled fear. Finally, he descended the steps. The boulder closed behind them. Below the forest was a city. Not ruins, not caves. A living place. Homes stood neatly arranged. People walked calmly, going about their lives. Children played. Light filled the space, though there was no visible source. The man led them into a large house where others gathered. They looked human, but something about them felt distant, as if they belonged to a different order of existence. A feast was prepared. My grandfather ate little. Fear weighed heavily on him. Then he noticed his sister. She was sitting upright beside him, eating, laughing. Her fever was gone. Her skin was cool, her eyes clear. She was completely well. Relief overwhelmed him, followed by confusion and unease. After the meal, my grandfather said it was time to leave. The man agreed and led them back through the underground streets toward the stairs. As they walked, the man spoke casually, as if escorting a guest from a normal home. But before they climbed the steps, he stopped near the place where cooking fires had been kept, where dark coals still lay from preparing the meal. He turned to my grandfather and asked for his handkerchief, the one my grandfather always carried. My grandfather hesitated, then handed it over. The man took a few pieces of coal, placed them carefully into the cloth, and tied it with a simple knot, as if packing a small gift for the road. He then returned it to my grandfather without explanation. My grandfather didn't understand why. But in that place, with that man, questions felt dangerous, so he accepted it silently. They ascended the steps. The boulder opened again, and they emerged into the forest. Daylight, birdsong, everything unchanged. Standing there, my grandfather paused. He checked his sister carefully. There were no signs of illness left. Her breathing was steady, her body strong. At that moment, right there, after coming out from underground, he made a conscious decision. There was no longer any need to go to the doctor in the other village. So he abandoned his original destination. Instead of continuing forward, he turned back toward home, choosing the familiar path leading to his village. The man walked with him a short distance, then stopped, bid farewell, and turned back into the forest. My grandfather watched the trees close behind him. Then he hurried home. At home, he told his mother only that his sister had recovered on the way and that there was no need to continue to the doctor. He didn't mention the forest, the boulder, or the world beneath it. He kept it to himself. That night, exhaustion claimed him quickly. Only as he prepared to sleep did he remember the coal tied inside his handkerchief. Afraid his mother would scold him for dirtying it, he stepped outside and shook the contents out near the doorway. He did not look closely. He believed he had thrown it all away. He folded the handkerchief, put it back in his pocket, and went to sleep. The next morning, after prayer, he washed his face and took out the handkerchief to dry his skin. Something heavy slipped free. It struck the ground. A gold nugget. At first, he didn't understand. Then he realized one piece of coal must have remained caught in the folds of the cloth, unnoticed the night before. Sometime during the night, it had changed. The coal had turned to gold. Heart pounding, he ran outside to where he had thrown the rest away. There was nothing. No coal, no gold, nothing at all. When he later told the story, the elders said they were not human. They were something ancient, something that lived beside our world, something that favored kindness and piety, but tested humility. The gold nugget was kept as a reminder, not of wealth, but of restraint. The forest was never haunted. It simply held another world, and sometimes it opens in daylight.